Welcome, everybody. Today is May 4th, 2026. I'm calling the Transportation Disadvantaged Local Coordinating Board meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Zoe, could you please call to confirm quorum for the record?
Are these? Can you guys? Okay, there we go. Okay. I forgot my attendance list, so I'm just calling names off the sign-in, so it's not in any order. I don't see any alternates here. Are there any alternates? Okay. Councilmember Hanley?
Here.
Ledgerwood?
Here.
Martinez?
Here.
Wilson?
Here.
Sharifs? Johnson? Ruiz?
Here.
Kammerdenner?
Here.
Estes?
Present.
Bush?
Here.
Tate?
Here.
Smith? Moore?
Here.
Stringer?
Here.
Okay, and yeah, I don't see any alternates, and we do have a quorum. Okay.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to make a comment should complete a speaker's card at the sign-in desk. Items on the agenda you will be called upon when the item is discussed. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Now, on to the reports. Space Coast Transportation Planning Organization Staff Report. Ms. Reedon.
Good morning, Patty Rendon, Transportation Planner, Space Coast TPO. The full project status and updates are in your agenda package, but I wanted to highlight that the Vision Zero Speed Management and Lighting Study has completed the analysis period to create a critical speed and lighting networks, and we've met with local jurisdictions in Brevard County to review those results and decide field review locations. Additionally, the SCTPO held the Vision Zero Summit on April 14th, which we'll go into more detail about during the Vision Zero Toolkit presentation a little bit later on in the meeting. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Now for the Space Coast Area Transit Director's Report, Mr. Jordan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. Just a couple of quick updates from Space Coast Area Space Coast Area Transit, excuse me. So one of the biggest things I typically highlight is ridership. Our current ridership comparisons year-to-date reflect the overall 3% decrease when compared to prior year's overall ridership. And we attribute this decrease to a lot of cold weather days and adverse weather earlier in the year. We've started to see a rebound in March, but we're going to continue watching to see if that trend continues of decrease or if we see a complete rebound in ridership. Our paratransit ridership continues to steadily increase, and Ms. Biles will share more information on that in her report later on. One of the things I wanted to also highlight is funding. Back in March, our counterparts at FDOT, thank you, Ms. Ledgerwood, and your peers as well, they gave us an opportunity to apply for some additional lapse in funding. So we did apply and received an award for $712,000. A major portion of that we used to go towards preventive maintenance and operation costs for Space Coast Area Transit. In addition, on the federal level, February 26th celebrated the success of congressional approval of a historic funding amount and above $21 billion toward public transportation. However, we cannot rest on that because the FY27 budget is proposing a above 23% decrease in overall funding to public transportation across the U.S. So as a result, myself and a good number of colleagues in our APTA opportunity, we went to visit with Senator Scott and Senator Moody's staff to advocate on behalf of transit within Florida. One of the things that we really wanted to do is advocate to continue the funding of transportation at its current levels, at least. We wanted to see that they would provide at least $138 billion to public transit and $138 billion to passenger rail over the next 5 years, fully fund a bus, and bus facilities grant and the new reauthorization bill that's upcoming. So, and then the last item was for authorizing $25 million per year in the Highway Trust Fund that can be used for public transit emergency relief funds. So as I mentioned, both FPTA, being the Florida Public Transportation Association, and APTA, the American Public Transportation Association, are advocating for these continued funds to flow to public transit. So as you are around the room are having these conversations in your respective areas, please continue to advocate for whoever you're speaking to that transit funds need to be continually funded, at least at the current level, and not see the proposed decreases that we are seeing in the current bills. Moving on from that, vehicles received for transit services. Once again, a big thanks to our FDOT partners. We received 7 new vehicles for our demand response service. 4 of which have been put into service, which have retired vehicles that are, and Mr. Parker could probably tell you the ages and the miles on those vehicles, but significantly past their useful life, because we maintain our vehicles so well and continue to operate them way past the time that they're supposed to be on the road. So we're once again very thankful that we've been able to replace 7 of our vehicles. We're waiting for an additional 3 vehicles to be delivered, and then also with 2 more fixed route vehicles later on in the year. Unfortunately, Ms. Cleveland's not here today, but one of the things that she advocated for recently was for the Melbourne Square Mall transit stops. We were able to coordinate with the Melbourne Square Mall management staff, and we have implemented an additional paratransit drop-off point. So we now have 2 locations in the mall, because one of the concerns was patrons that use our service were being dropped off at the one far end of the mall, and if they wanted to go to, like, from example to the other side, like JCPenney or something like that, they had to walk the entire length of the mall. So we're able to have an additional location for our patrons to be dropped off at the JCPenney side and the Macy's. If you're familiar with the mall, the Melbourne Square Mall, these are 2 opposite ends of the mall, so patrons just have to probably go half the distance of the mall to access our services at the furthest. And we also had the work with our construction crew to improve the pedestrian crossing points from our fixed route bus stop, replace the speed humps to allow for safer crossings from the stop to the mall for pedestrians from transit, and also the pedestrian crosswalks were repainted. So that was an accomplishment for the safety of our pedestrians and passengers utilizing the service at the mall. And I believe that is my update, Madam Chair. If there are any questions, glad to answer.
Mr. Jordan, I'm going to, with the League of Cities, Florida League of Cities, I'm going to Washington at the end of June to speak to the senators and congressmen in that area. So if I can have your notes for what you just spoke, I appreciate it.
By all means. Thank you so much.
I think it's very important. I mean, that's why I'm doing this. So if we can have, so I can speak on that behalf of everyone here, and not only for Space Coast, but for the for the state of Florida. That's why I do what I do. So if he can, I know I'm worried about sunshine laws situations here. I don't know where we are. So if you just give it to everybody, or you can just hand it to me, send it to me. I'm a little more cautious about the sunshine laws than I probably should be, but if you don't mind sending it to me.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, I don't believe there's an issue of sunshine law in this case, because I will be presenting information that was provided via our FPTA membership either way. So it's common information that's out there. So I can also provide this to anyone that's interested in the room. But once again, I thank you for your advocacy on behalf of transit services here, but we also do the same thing around the state and for the state at the state level as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, now to the Transit Community Outreach Report. Ms. Baez.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
As you can see, we really didn't do a lot of community outreach. We always do it like in the mid of the year. That's why you only see 3 things on there. But we have stuff coming up soon in the next few months. If you have any questions on that, there's not really to talk about those three things. Yes.
It's tax season for me, just tax season, and I get a lot, most of my clients are over 65. Just, we've all grown older with each other. And a lot of them didn't even realize until I brought it up that they had the services, that we have the para services. I believe there was somebody I sent to you. I even did the paperwork for, helped them do the paperwork.
I think it's a shame there's a lot of people that don't know the services is out there. I go out and I speak in a lot of places, but so does Lori Hamilton. She hits a lot of the senior fairs. I mean, she's out there maybe 4 or 5 times a year doing the senior fairs, and there's a lot of people that just don't know the services exist.
Because they did not know that the services existed, and they needed your services for a situation.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of new ones coming in, mostly from relatives that lives out of the state, signing up their parents that decided to retire here. And we've been getting a lot of those calls too, which is a good thing, because now they know their parents are going to the doctors. And there was one lady said, my parents been lying to me. Because she said she's been to the doctor and she says she doesn't drive. I was wondering, well, how? I'm like, some kids just don't ask questions. How are you getting to the doctor's offices? But yeah, we're getting a lot of them, which is good. But most of our outreaches is between June and September is when a lot of people contact us to come speak. So in the beginning of the year, one is cold, and they're not really doing any senior events to bring seniors out in that weather.
I was just surprised how many people don't know don't know anything about, even though your buses have been going by their house for years, they just never put two and two together.
Yeah.
I was wondering if there's any outreach materials that maybe
Can you hit your
It's
button?
on. Is it not working? Is that better? Okay. Are there outreach materials you could share with us that maybe we could share with others, and then?
Sure, I'll send Zoe the link
Okay.
of everything that we do. It comes in a book. I'll
Okay.
send the link out and then let her send it out to everybody.
Yeah, I think we had some set up in our Rockledge Center, but our Rockledge Center closed. But I would like to mimic that, in maybe some of our other centers.
Yeah, I have
And-
also brochures that
Yeah.
a marketing agent puts up together.
But then I also
Like-
want to find out about those speaking things you're talking about, so maybe I could get you in to talk to our staff. I think that'd be great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Actually, and if there's anyone in the room, and this is where we, at the end of the meeting, we typically go around the room for any upcoming events. If there are events that you think that your clients can benefit from transit services coming out and speaking to them, I remember actually we did, it's been about a year ago, we actually did one right before the Rockledge Center closed over there. Carmen, myself, Lance, and a couple other staff members came out and spoke about transit services to a very large group. So we take the opportunity to get the word out as much as able and much as possible. So if there's anything happening, by all means, please, you can shoot it to Zoe or directly to Carmen, and we'll do our best.
We do a lot of the Rotary clubs, too.
How about some of the churches? There's some, I know in South Melbourne, in the Melbourne area, imagine that. There's some big churches that are very active that, could you put the pamphlets out to the, or in their bulletins, in the, their weekly bulletins or something like that?
Years ago, I used to do a lot of events at some of the churches in Cocoa Beach, Melbourne. We did quite a few times in Ascension, but I haven't been contacted from a church in a long time.
Oh, well, we can make that change. I've got some numbers for you.
Yeah, but we come out. Will you want us there? Just tell us the time, we come out.
Because even if you're not coming out, if they can put an ad in their weekly bulletin, that will jar a lot of people.
Yeah, we have quite a few flyers that I can send out and maybe put them out there.
Yeah, because I think that's where a lot of your older residents go to.
Because they rather read something in paper than
Yeah,
on a phone.
they get to a point where they're like, I don't want to deal with the computer anymore. And then I have other ones, they love that computer, and they love with Bitcoin.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
Yeah, I know, because I got time. That's why they do Bitcoin. So, things like that. If we can do just something like that,
Sure.
I'll help you with that. There's some big, larger churches that I'm sure that would help you. They would love to have that information.
Yeah, I'd be honored to go out or send out information.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then you're speaking again, the Transportation Disadvantage Performance Report Card.
Yeah. Okay, I did a short synopsis from that report card that I gave you. I did a year-to-date. I was comparing FY '25 to FY '26. I'm just going to give you February, March, and April. Okay, February of FY '25, we did 7,380 rides. And FY '26, we did 7,290. We were low that month. However, in March, we did, in '25, 7,858. And in March of this year, we did 8,381. So it's gradually growing. April was 8,000 last time, and this year was 8,234. So our trips are gradually growing. So we're hitting a lot more people with paratransit. Any questions? All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now on to volunteers and motion reports. Ms. Hamilton?
Good morning.
Morning.
Well, everything is pretty much on track with our program for the first quarter. One thing that's a little bit new on this report is pending. I usually don't have a pending, but I'm really happy to say I'm working with 3 prospect volunteers right now. And one of those is actually going to be in Titusville, which we have not been able to get anything started up there for well over 10 years. So the gentleman is going to be seasonal, but, we're going to start at least being able to provide some service up there. And while he's away, then, our volunteers in Cocoa will definitely try to go up and kind of keep things going. This gentleman actually lives at the Great Outdoors, in that RV place. So he was also felt kind of bad that he's coming on board, but then will be leaving soon for a couple months. But we're going to work together to try to see if maybe we can do some recruitment in that area to kind of keep things going, which I think is a great idea. Right now, the plan is to go ahead and move one of our vehicles up closer to the Titusville area so that gentleman won't need to take the trip down to Cocoa to pick up the vehicle and go back up. And right now, we're working with the Sheriff's Department up there to see if they'll let us park our vehicle there, so it's easier for him to access. Other than that, everything's going pretty good. Let's see, as you can see under general, both of those senior fairs were very successful. I will want to say one more thing. The gentleman I'm speaking of, I actually met him about 6 months ago when we had the fair at the museum up in the Warbird Museum, and that was about 6 months ago. So sometimes it takes a little while for the for the prospect person to come back and finally show some interest. And so, these fairs definitely do pay off. And in addition to that, they're actually pretty fun. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Now on to the consent agenda. It will be, the only thing, we need the approval of the TDLCB meeting minutes from the February 2nd, 2026 meeting.
Madam Chair, I need to propose one correction to the minutes on page 13, under the TDLCB members present listing. If we could correct the spelling of my first name and add the extra N in, that would be greatly appreciated.
I believe
small
we
but-
can do
A
that.
small but
I know, I understand.
important correction. Thank you so much.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
That's right.
Okay, I'll make a motion on that.
We have
And
a
I'll
motion
second.
from Mr. Singer, and who was doing the second?
Camille.
Camille, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? And the motion passes. Okay, on to approval of Resolution 2026, recommending Brevard County Board of Commissioners continue as the Community Transportation Coordinator for Brevard County. Ms. Reardon? Reardon.
All right, so this is a housekeeping item for review and approval. So I'm just going to provide a quick information, a refresh of the Florida Transportation Disadvantage System. We talked about this during orientation in February, I'm just going over quickly just because it's going to relate to this item and then the following item. The Florida Administrative Code 41-2, establishes the Florida Commission for the Transportation Disadvantaged, the CTD, with the assigned responsibility to accomplish the coordination of transportation services provided to the transportation disadvantaged. The CTD sets statewide policy and contracts with the community transportation coordinators to ensure services are available. And the CTD also designates a local designated official planning agency, also referred to as the DOPA, to help manage and oversee the program at the local level. So the DOPA appoints and staffs the Transportation Disadvantaged Local Coordinating Board, and the Coordinating Board serves as the oversight body for the community. It reviews local needs, monitors performance, and recommends a community transportation coordinator to the CTD. Purchasing agencies, such as social service or healthcare agencies, buys trips for their clients through the Community Transportation Coordinator, and in some cases, they may also contract directly with the CTD or bill directly for services. The Community Transportation Coordinator then contracts with transportation operators to provide the actual trips, and these operators deliver transportation to the transportation disadvantaged riders, ensuring that people who have limited mobility options still have access to essential services or activities. Every 5 years, the CTC designation is reviewed by the TDLCB and the SCTPO, and a recommendation is made to the Florida CTD. Brevard County CTC designation is due for renewal in June of this year, and the designation will ensure that transportation disadvantaged services continue to be provided to Brevard County residents. So, staff is requesting approval of Resolution 26-15, recommending Brevard County Board of County Commissioners continue as the Community Transportation Coordinator for Brevard County.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion approval of the CTC designation resolution?
So moved.
That's Ms. Tate. Do we have a second? Mr. Say it again? Kemadera. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? And the motion passes. Now on to approval of draft 2026 Annual Transportation Disadvantaged Service Plan Update.
Yes, this is kind of, as we've already covered, this first diagram gives a more detailed view of how the overall transportation disadvantage system works in Florida, the CTC designating the DOPA, which is us, the SCTPO, and then the CTC, which is designated every 5 years, is Space Coast Area Transit in our county. So, this diagram shows how that all works in Brevard County, as I explained. Let's see, because we just covered that. So now that we have more of an understanding of how that system works from the top down, we can move on to what the TDSP is. The Transportation Disadvantaged Service Plan is an annually updated tactical plan jointly developed by the SCTPO and Space Coast Area Transit, which contains development, service, and quality assurance components. The TDLCB reviews and approves that service plan, and it is approved by the SCTPO board and submitted to the CTD for final action. The service plan will cover a 5-year period with annual updates for years 2 through 5, due prior to July 1st of each subsequent year. The development and submission of the service plan and annual updates are the responsibility of Space Coast Area Transit, the SCTPO, and the TDLCB, working together in order to prevent any loss of funding. It is critical that the plan and updates are submitted timely. So, the purpose of the TDSP is to identify who the transportation disadvantaged population is and where they are, assess current transportation services and gaps, unmet needs, times, or areas not served, set goals, objectives, and priorities for improving mobility for TD individuals, guide funding decisions and support applications for state and federal grants, and improve coordination among agencies, providers, and local governments. This annual update will be submitted to the CTD by July 1st of this year, and has the following components. So the development plan includes a needs assessment and ensures that new service or capital needs are identified to support future funding applications. The service plan changes in types or hours of service, significant changes in system policies, new service innovations or cancellation of services, changes in operators or coordination contractors, changes in vehicle inventory, and so on. Cost and revenue allocation and rate structure justification. Reviews current and updated project expenses, revenues, and levels of service, and makes adjustments accordingly. A new service rate summary page as well as rate model worksheets are also included. And quality assurance includes any evaluation process changes and updates to the summary of the latest coordinator evaluation. So the summary the summary of changes include updated formatting, to include our updated brand guide, organizational charts, the TDSP certification page, updates, local coordination board roll call, updated narrative and approval dates, the development plan, Brevard County's TD program narrative, needs assessment updates, public participation events, 2025 Transportation Disadvantage Survey results, and the service plan, which I believe is on the next slide. Updated types, hours, days of service and fares, transportation disadvantage service narrative, any updated marketing efforts that are more recent, and updated local complaint and grievance procedure processes. And quality assurance, the updated CTC evaluation process narrative, and results. So, coming next year, now that we've done the annual update, next year will be our major update for the fiscal year 27 through 2032. And with that, staff is requesting approval of the draft 2026 Annual Transportation Disadvantage Service Plan update.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approval for the draft of 2026 Annual Transportation Disadvantage Service Plan update? Wait.
Second.
Mr.
If you first, I'll
Stringer-
second.
Stringer, and then Ms.
Bush.
Bush. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? And the motion passes. Now on to the presentation of Vision Zero Toolkit. Ms. Nepo.
Yes. Hi, all. If you haven't met me before, my name is Leah Nepo. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator at the Space Coast Transportation Planning Organization. So nice to meet you all, and nice to see familiar faces as well. And if you attended the Vision Zero Summit back on the 14th, and this might be a little repetitive, and thank you for attending if you were able to, but otherwise we wanted to make sure everybody got the same information and facts, because it's pretty exciting what we're unveiling today, or I guess on the 14th, but today with you all, the Vision Zero Toolkit, the new Vision Zero Toolkit. Perfect. So no matter how transportation planning has evolved or the new technologies that have emerged, the heart of our mission at the SCTPO has remained the same, and that is Vision Zero. The vision of living in a world with zero fatalities and serious injuries on our roadways. The vision of zero being the only acceptable number when we speak about traffic violence and crashes. And this mission is reflected in everything we do, from planning, designing, and in engaging in our community. So now more than ever, it's essential that we continue to engage with our community and others, encouraging everyone to invest their time, their attention, and their commitment to our shared goal. So let's start with a quick look at how we got here today. Vision Zero is originally a European initiative, actually, and it was only brought to the Americas in the 2000s. And this approach, although seemingly simple, redefined how we viewed traffic fatalities. It's not an inevitable risk that we take when we drive or we walk or we bike. It's a public health crisis. Adopting Vision Zero meant a few things, like foregoing traditional approaches and understanding that we prevent tragedy when we prepare for it. So when the SCTPO asked municipalities across Brevard to take that pledge, it was more than just a verbal commitment. We were asking for a total change of mind and approach to traffic safety. And with a lofty goal like that, we knew we needed engaging and easy to understand materials that could accompany us. In 2020, we launched our first Vision Zero toolkit, and on the screen is what that looked like. As you can see, some bright yellow branding there. And that toolkit helped introduce Vision Zero as a concept to our partners and municipalities, providing a foundation of understanding to a concept totally unknown to Brevard County at that time. And triumphantly, every municipality of Brevard County, including Brevard Public Schools, adopted Vision Zero 3 years after our organization did, and that marked a major milestone in our region. So these materials certainly served their purpose for that time, but our work has evolved, our branding has certainly looks different, and our partnerships has grown, so it was clear that we needed a new guide. So what exactly is a toolkit? As defined here, a toolkit is a collection of adaptable resources designed to help individuals and organizations implement ideas into practice. But what does that really mean? Think about how many times you've pulled out your phone to prove a point to somebody, right? It means giving people practical, ready-to-use tools right there in your pocket, whether it's messaging, templates, or educational materials that make it easier to make that next step. Toolkits have been used to support and mobilize many different movements, and they're especially effective because they're flexible. There's not a one-size-fits-all approach. That includes communication materials and resources that can be used by both professionals and the broader community. Ultimately, toolkits help turn awareness into action, bridging the gap between understanding a problem and actively working towards the solution for it. In 2024, the SCTPO published the Vision Zero Action Plan, which provided updated data and strategies and a clear roadmap for moving forward. What this action plan highlighted is that Vision Zero is not a one-time commitment. It requires ongoing engagement to remain accountable and proactive. Despite our efforts, Florida remains in the top 3 for traffic fatalities out of every state in America. Brevard County grapples with painful, preventable traffic fatalities daily. In fact, in 2025, over 90 people were killed on Brevard County roadways. Traffic fatalities and serious injuries impact our community and remind us that adoption is only the first step, and implementation and consistency is what drives real change. So our team, when we looked into our toolkit, not just to align with our new branding, we wanted to renew passion and interest in Vision Zero. So together, the action plan shaped the content of this new toolkit, and our branding guide influenced how it would look and feel. So this is the reveal, the revamp. So goal and purpose. What is the goal? At its core, it's about 2 things. It's about empowering local action and then strengthening advocacy far and wide. So we want this resource to serve as something for Brevard, for those that are wanting to educate themselves and for those that know all about it and want to educate others. We want this toolkit to be used by other counties or areas in the world that also want to implement Vision Zero themselves, but they need assistance in beginning that. Ultimately, we worked to create something that people will actually use, something that is relevant and supports real conversation, outreach, and change. As we moved into development, we considered a few things. We wanted to keep the content clear, concise, and easy to navigate. It was important that the materials we worked on were available for both digital and in-person use in this social media age and remained accessible. We also wanted this toolkit to be adaptable for different audience, yet always fully aligned with the SCTPO branding and Vision Zero messaging. We evaluated what are people really talking about, what are common questions we are receiving at board meetings, in our emails, on our phones, and more. What are people actually interested in talking about? And bottom line, the goal was to create something functional. So after establishing these priorities, the process began about a year ago. We identified key objectives, reviewed Vision Zero toolkits from across the country to understand what works and what isn't out there yet. From there, in August of 2025, the Vision Zero leadership team participated in a hands-on workshop where we walked through real-world scenarios and considered how different messaging and community members might interact with different messaging. It went something like, as a resident, how can you quickly engage and educate someone if they're 8 years old or if they're 80 years old? How can you get someone to buy into Vision Zero? What do you need to have for every road user to be on the same page? And from those discussions, we identified the opportunities for some of our tools. And finally, with all that brainstorming to boot, we partnered with our consultants who helped bring these ideas to life and shape them into the toolkit that Ms. Patricia Rendon will continue to present about today.
So now that Leah's set the foundation for where we've been and how we got here, we're going to take a deeper look at our updated tools in the toolkit. We want to empower our community with all the knowledge at our disposal so we can turn these plans into action and work towards the goal of 0 deaths and serious injuries on our roads together. Beginning with the history of Vision Zero, this at-a-glance handout provides context for the safety strategy and a timeline of important global and local milestones. By learning and building upon the experience and proven results set by a worldwide community, we can more clearly envision reaching 0 fatalities and serious injuries in our own backyard. So how do we reach this goal? By taking it one step at a time. The Vision Zero sample action plan and timeline is meant to demystify the process of how we turn concepts into actions. This step-by-step roadmap outlines crucial stakeholder roles, what kinds of data are needed to be collected, and how to define, prioritize, and measure the progress of short-term goals for long-term wins. These steps are guided by the principles of the safe system approach, that death and serious injury is unacceptable, that humans make mistakes, that humans are vulnerable, responsibility is shared, safety is proactive, and redundancy is crucial. As Leah touched on earlier, in 2022, the SCTPO celebrated that Vision Zero resolutions had been adopted region-wide by Brevard County, every municipality within the county, and Brevard Public Schools. This ready-to-use resolution was updated with the aim of empowering future partners to affirm their commitment to the strategies of Vision Zero. The resolution gives decision-makers clear, defined language to sustain momentum for substantive policy. This provides clear direction for creating policy changes to make a lasting impact by implementing safety improvements in our community. The Vision Zero Resource Guide is an excellent jumping-off point to begin gathering relevant data and research the plethora of proven safety countermeasures. This is a curated list of organizations, tools, and websites to be used in supporting Vision Zero efforts. Connecting our community with vetted data and other critical information sources makes us stronger advocates for the changes necessary to save lives. In the same way, the safe system approach works by overlapping multiple types of strategies: safe roads, safe road users, safe vehicles, safe speeds, and post-crash care. We can build upon what we know works to adapt and innovate projects, policy, and educational outreach that centers the safety of our neighbors. Continuing with empowering our community with actionable knowledge, the Bicycle and Pedestrian Laws and Statutes Cheat Sheet booklet makes it easier for any road user to know their rights and responsibilities when sharing the roadway. This quick reference guide is a more portable and accessible way to share current laws, helping everyone become more predictable road users. Next in our arsenal of educational materials, these updated countermeasure tip cards provide easy-to-digest information on proven safety countermeasures and explain how they reduce fatal and serious injury crashes. All of these tip cards feature local locations of existing infrastructure throughout Brevard County, including examples in Cocoa, Melbourne, Satellite Beach, Viera, and West Melbourne. So just to give you a little bit more information about the countermeasures that we focused on, we wanted to place more of an emphasis on things that we already have here that people might not be familiar with if you're living in Titusville and maybe aren't coming down to Viera as often. So our first one, lane narrowing reduces the width of lanes and causes drivers to slow down and remain focused in order to stay between the lines of the road. This countermeasure doesn't remove any vehicle lanes, and the extra space created can be used for wider sidewalks, landscaping, or bike lanes. Studies have found that narrower lanes, around 9 to 11 feet, have fewer crashes compared to the standard 12-foot lanes, particularly at speeds of 30 to 35 miles per hour. The local example we used was Hickory Street in Melbourne. Roadway reconfigurations can make driving safer by removing unneeded lanes and adding improvements like turn lanes or bike lanes. This reduces rear end and turning crashes, making it easier for pedestrians to cross the street and create space for wider sidewalks, bike lanes, or parking. Converting a 4-lane road to a 3-lane road can reduce overall crashes by up to 47%. The local example given here was Florida Avenue in Cocoa. Roundabouts are circular intersections that allow motorists to slow down and simply yield to other traffic versus stopping completely at a stop sign or a traffic signal. This keeps traffic moving through the intersection and reduces serious crashes by 75% and fatal crashes up to 90%. The local example we have here, this excellent aerial taken by Brevard County Traffic Ops, thank you, was Parada Drive and Lake Andrews Drive in Viera. Diverging diamond interchanges, or DDIs, make it possible to move high traffic volumes without adding lanes or signals. This design typically costs less and requires a smaller footprint than other designs and creates safer crossings for bicyclists and pedestrians. DDIs can reduce the number of potential crash areas by almost 50%, and this example is the Viera Boulevard and I-95 interchange in Viera. Clear, consistent, and easy-to-see enhanced signage keeps everyone in our community safe. By understanding our roles, we can keep behaviors predictable by communicating to pedestrians and cyclists where to cross and signal to motorists where they can expect to see someone crossing. Advanced yield or stop markings and signs can reduce pedestrian crashes up to 25%. And the picture seen here is State Road A1A in Satellite Beach. Chicanes are intentional curves or lane shifts added to straight roads to keep drivers focused on driving. This low-cost, high-impact design creates safer roads through lower speeds and more attentive drivers, and typically works best on local roads with the speed limit of 35 miles per hour or less. Research into implemented chicanes has shown a reduction in speed between 3 and 9 miles per hour. The local example we have is Clear Lake Road in Cocoa. Bicycle lanes are specially marked lanes for bicyclists on the right side of the other lanes. They usually include paint and signage. Physically separated bicycle lanes add a barrier, such as posts, curbs, or plants. This communicates or physically maintains a safe passing distance and separation of cars and bicycles on a shared roadway. This also improves traffic flow by separating different speeds. Additionally, converting a traditional bike lane to a separated bike lane can reduce bicycle vehicle crashes by up to 53%. The local example we have is US 192 in Melbourne. Pedestrian islands are raised medians located between travel lanes and connected by crosswalks. Pedestrian islands create a refuge area for pedestrians while crossing the street, and this enhances pedestrian safety by allowing crossings in 2 stages and provides a protected waiting area. For comparison, medians with a marked crosswalk saw a 46% reduction in pedestrian crashes, while, I'm sorry, I've lost my place. while pedestrian refuge islands saw a 56% reduction in pedestrian crashes. And this is US 192 and Evans Road in West Melbourne. Pedestrian hybrid beacons, or PHBs, are special traffic signals that are activated by a push button to help people cross a busy road safely. They promote safer behavior by guiding people to the pedestrian-activated signal to request to cross instead of waiting for gaps in traffic. PHBs can lead to a 55% reduction in pedestrian crashes, a 29% reduction in total crashes, and a 15% reduction in serious injury and fatal crashes. And this example was also on Clear Lake Road in Cocoa. And finally, rectangular rapid flashing beacons, or RRFBs, are bright yellow flashing lights placed on signage at crosswalks to let drivers know when someone is ready to cross the street. The flashing lights make people crossing more visible to drivers and can reduce pedestrian crashes by up to 47%. And this is Pineapple Street in Melbourne. So now that you're a little more familiar with some of the available safety countermeasures, we can utilize this next tool in the toolkit. The bicycle and pedestrian facility checklist can be used by community members while observing local corridors and identify areas that could benefit from some of those aforementioned safety countermeasures. By examining the existing corridor infrastructure and data sources like the high injury network, those utilizing the checklist can form a clearer picture of what the specific needs of that corridor are and what may need to be improved. As part of our long-term Vision Zero strategy, we plan to expand the toolkit with audience-specific components tailored to key sectors such as law enforcement, school-based settings, and social media communications. These specialized toolkits will support targeted outreach, education, and advocacy efforts while maintaining alignment with core Vision Zero goals and SCTPO branding. The toolkit was unveiled at the Vision Zero Summit, titled "We Have the Will, Now What is the Way," on April 14th, 2026. The event, which had 60 attendees, included workshop activities and presentations on a range of topics that all work towards creating safer roads in the community. The presentations included enforcement strategies and insights that reduce crashes and support safer roadways from Florida Highway Patrol, the role of injury prevention in reducing traffic-related deaths and injuries from Health First, the power in temporary bicycle and pedestrian safety projects from the City of Cape Canaveral, and statewide systemic safety analysis and initiatives on behalf of FDOT. By sharing perspectives across different disciplines and jurisdictions, utilizing this toolkit, making a change in our driving behaviors, and educating ourselves and our neighbors on the importance of proven safety countermeasures, we can save lives and foster a more robust culture of safety in our region. Thank you. I'd be happy to take any questions.
I just would like to say one thing for you and Leah and anybody who was involved in this. I did have an opportunity to attend the summit. It was really well done. It was, you had great speakers. I unfortunately had to leave before the activities at the end, but it was very well coordinated and it was insightful. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
I have a question.
Sure.
And I love the Vision Zero concept, and I think you guys are doing an amazing job. I just want to double check the numbers that are given for each one of these about reducing crashes, 47%. Those aren't numbers that were actually from what was set up in our community. Those are just like the numbers that it could be.
That's FHWA,
So not that
Federal
it's
Highway.
done it on the examples that we put out, like say the bike lanes on 192. We don't
This-
have
this
numbers
is-
from that.
I don't think, not those specifically, because
Yeah.
those are so new.
We wouldn't have numbers from those specifically, especially not specifically those bike lanes on US 192, but these are just what those countermeasures produce on a statewide, nationwide level. So that is the benefit of those countermeasures in our community.
Okay. And then a follow-up question. How are these sites chosen for, gathering this data, or to say, okay, here's an example, like why 190, no offense, but why 192 rather than like Malabar Road where people are actually riding their bikes and stuff?
I think that was mainly just, we were trying to get ones that were super well-traveled that people would know more commonly. Because there were multiple examples of a lot of these countermeasures throughout the county. These were just ones that we had more
Yeah.
familiarity with.
I will say, as someone who is out in the community, when there's controversy, that's the opportunity to educate, right? So US 192 is a controversial decision. It's a question I get a lot at events, no matter if I'm in Melbourne or not. It's why are there bike lanes here? Who's using bike lanes? So having a card that I can quickly give out so that they can remember and just say, hey, here you are. Of course, I'm going to have that conversation as well, but having something in their hand, and it is on our website today, later today, a digital tool as well is super valuable.
Yeah, because I think it would have been nice to have seen it in a location where we could actually get, like, are we now having these numbers because people are avoiding the road rather than going down the road? And then if there's no bikes traveling the road, did we really make a difference? How would we know that if we chose a location where it's not actually, the bike lane's not even being used? So those are just, some
Yeah.
thoughts, so.
Yeah, and those numbers for the bike lanes were the federal
That's
big numbers.
FHWA.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think Leah made a great point, is that sometimes if this is what people are talking about, we wanted to acknowledge it because it's,
I just would have loved them to be talking about, oh, they put it on a road where bikes are and we can actually see a change here or an improvement rather than it being on a road where we couldn't really see that improvement. Sorry.
No, this is wonderful. Thank you for
Okay.
asking these questions, because I know Councilmember Hanley, this is a project that has really gotten a lot of attention. Some of it not so good, because it's a big change for sure. But I will let you know, I'm sorry, Georgiana Gillette, Director of the Space Coast TPO. The reason why the Florida Department of Transportation chose that particular roadway is because it had a high pedestrian and bicycle crash rate. And we have heard that a lot of people, I don't see any bicycles on that road. But when they look at it from a 5-year perspective, when you look at the data, apparently there was a very high bicycle crash rate. Now, with that being said, when there's a big resurfacing that the department is going through and resurfacing the roadway, and it is a project that they can incorporate some safety improvements, they're going to try their best to take advantage of that. And so the pedestrian hybrid beacons, or is it the RRFBs that are at that?
Pedestrian
Yeah, pedestrian hybrid beacons are also put along that roadway so the pedestrians can, get across the roadway safely. So they have data to back it up. They're not going to make this investment in the corridor without the actual numbers to be able to back it up. And you'll see that throughout. Clear Lake Road, another perfect example. There was a lot of pushback, but the municipality, the city of West Melbourne, and the city of Melbourne at the time, bike lanes were not necessarily identified in that project, but before the department goes in and incorporates a resurfacing, they want to know what is happening in the community. They look at the safety rates, and they want to get buy-in from the cities as well. And so Clear Lake was a project that Brevard County and the city of Cocoa very much supported. Some citizens hate it, especially the people that drive it, because they don't want to slow down. They want to just keep on going and get to where they're going as quickly as possible. But we're trying to look at all users and for everyone to arrive safely at the end of the day.
I really appreciate that, because I know there's a reason. I know they don't just aimlessly do this for no reason, but it's good to hear
Yes.
those reasonings and that the data over the 5 years, I would have not known that about
5-year crash rate,
192.
yeah.
So that's very important. I appreciate you
Yes.
sharing that.
There's not enough money to go around with state and federal funding, so it's got to be a data-driven approach, which is what our Vision Zero plan is about. It is about the data. You need to follow the data, and that's very important.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Any other questions?
I had a question. Your bicycle data, did that include like electric bikes and scooters, or was that just purely bicycles?
So right now, the reporting is the issue. They
Sticky.
can't really differentiate between the
Yeah.
electric versus traditional bicycles. So the data that we have is kind of, and obviously that's a more recent development of all these e-bikes,
Yeah.
so it's kind of both at
Yeah,
this
and
point.
e-bikes are evolving so quickly, and some things are not able to catch up just as quick, like key laws and statutes. So when we first gathered this information, say 8 to 10 months ago, who knows what that looks like now in the reporting process. So as we mentioned, the possibility for an expansion of a toolkit, and with it living digitally as well, we'll be able to edit it in the future, certainly, probably, definitely, including an e-bike
And then
component.
break it down between scooter and electric bike and.
Yeah, and in the meantime, we do have an e-bike safety page up on our website that is actively updated with new information all the time that does go into the nitty-gritty that we have available in terms of statutes here in Brevard County, the law as far as it is right now in Florida, and the different types of e-bikes and scooters and stuff. Just some of those statistics, it takes a while to do an analysis, and e-bikes are still pretty new to the region.
And that's the other trouble is, as far as the crash data goes, the crash reports that police, emergency services, they're still updating that. So a lot of times they don't even have, unless it's in the narrative of the report itself, there's not a box to tick that says this was an e-bike, this was a regular bike. It's all kind of condensed into one.
Thank you.
It was not the most easiest day for me. On to members' report. Any member having an upcoming event or anything that they want to discuss? No events for the members? No, nothing? Okay, we'll go on to the next thing, is public comment. Members are invited to, for their comments, and we have two comments, and we request that you be at 3 minutes. Felicia W.
Good morning.
Ready?
I would just like to know why Route 10 is quitting at 5 o'clock. I have been hearing a lot of complaints about that. Thank you.
Okay, we'll try to have somebody get back with you. Maria Riggle.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to be here, glad to see everybody here. I have one question of Terry Jordan. Thank you for getting that stop at Penny's. My next question is, will you be able to pick up your bus going home there, or do you still have to travel to Macy's? So, because generally the bus, years ago, it would drop you off at Penny's, but you still had to go to Macy's to take it going home. So that's a question. If it'll drop us off there, can we get the bus going home there? Or do we travel across the mall?
I think we have an answer coming up
Yes,
to
ma'am.
coming up to this podium.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll defer the answer to our Manager of Operations and Maintenance, Mr. Lance Parker, who can address that and answer that question for you. Ms.
So,
Rigliosi.
yeah, good afternoon, Lance Parker, Transit Services. So Maria, when you book your trip, just let them know that if you want to be dropped off at Macy's and picked up at Penny's or vice versa, or if you want to be picked up and dropped off at Penny's, just make sure you're clear about that, and you can do it however it's most convenient for you.
Thank you.
Okay?
That's a gift.
Okay.
I got another question on the bike lanes. There's currently construction on South Patrick Drive. are any bike lanes going to be put in on that area? Because I know there's bike lanes on A1A. To my knowledge, there are none on South Patrick. That's another situation
I
there.
don't think you
Question.
would have it.
Being put on a list to attend an event, especially since I made the list and submitted the list. However, I was left off the list. When I called to be put on the list, I received no response. Imagine my surprise. I'm not going anywhere Saturday morning, so I'm in bed in my jammies. Call, your bus is outside. And I says, what do you mean by bus is outside? I don't have a bus. Yeah, you do. Your bus is outside waiting for you. I says, well, I am in bed in my pajamas. You've got 5 minutes, Mrs. Rigliosi. I said, that is not going to happen. This is a major construction project. Thank you. And another thing, I know my 3 minutes is coming up. How is it that if I'm picked up at 4 o'clock at a movie theater, I don't get home till 5:45? I rode the bus going to the theater. I was late to the date that I had. I have to see the next movie, and I did alert the bus driver that I may not get out in time because the movie ended at 3:30, and I don't join the crush getting out. I'll wait till everybody's pretty much out of that theater before I start moving out. I don't feel like being tripped or bumping into people. But yes, I'll be gone. I did make it to the bus stop in time, just as the bus got there. I did not stop for any reason because I was afraid I was going to be late. But got on at 4, didn't get off till I
That's-
got to my garage.
Mr. Rizzo, that is not something that we handle here. That is something that you need to be talking to staff about. That's not what we handle here, the situations, because there's certain processes, and if you haven't gone through the process, then we like to have it so that if you start with the process and talk to staff and go on, and if you have problems with staff and going on with that, that's the time to bring it up here
You
at
mean
this.
the question of why I didn't get to my home until that time?
Anything that's a question about the service or operation, you need to contact transit staff first and then go from there to resolve.
Received. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's the end of public comments. Now next, on to the next one, for year-end 2026 planning grant, third quarter quarterly invoice and progress report.
So for item 8, the informational items, A through C, are all provided as informational items. If anyone has any questions, there's not a report associated with them.
Okay. At the next meeting is going to be August 10th at 10:30 in this room. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Stringer?
I'll second.
Second, Ms. Bush? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ms. Moore.
Oh, Ms. Moore, I'm so sorry. All in favor, we all had to aye. And I will see everybody in August 10th. Have a great summer.
The opinions expressed by any member of the public during any period of public comment do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, Space Coast Government Television, or the program sponsor, and are solely those of the presenter. The Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, Space Coast Government Television, and the program sponsor hereby expressly disclaim any and all responsibility or liability for any defamatory or slanderous statements expressed by any member of the public during any such period.